Hello everyone, how are we doing today? Hopefully your Monday is going better than BGA's Monday, because this is a clear sign that it's not a good idea to start a game on BGA right now. So yes, hello everyone. Haydeezz, I'm just gonna go backwards in chat because it's feeling like that kind of day. Hello Haydeezz, Average Joe, Patrick, Kung Ming, Sivier, Rubenstock, Econ Sean with the tier 1 for 32 months, no weighing. Also Thrall with the Prime for 22 months. Some big resubs coming in. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate your support over the, I'm gonna say years, because that's where it's basically been. Hello also to Schmog. And am I missing anyone? At least not going backwards. Yeah, so no BGA game today. Pet Lover S tier incoming. It's gonna pain me? Yes, it's gonna pain me, no matter what it ends up being. I think I'm gonna do a band tier. Oh yeah, okay, this has not gotten better. I guess I'll keep this tab open just to, if anyone comes in and asks why. And I think I explained it in the title, but you know. Where is Lynchit? I need to play Lynchit. I haven't. Hello, Plumbob. Alright. Time to start saving my voice, because tier listing is difficult. So all you really need to do is Tiermaker, search Agricola, click on the even mores, and then know this handy link if you're streaming to see all of them. So the process to do all of the even mores is probably like a 6+ hour thing if we talk about cards one by one. And I'm not streaming for 6 hours today, I can tell you that. What I think I'm gonna do is blaze past many cards in order to get them ranked. Is that actually going to happen? No. That's what I kind of want to happen. But, you know, wants and reality are different sometimes. Why are people sad? Aww. Is backseating allowed? Backseating is allowed. Is anyone else going to be wide Pipo sad about blazing past some cards? Is stream sniping allowed? This is a stream where I'm playing one of those offline games that so many other streamers play who don't have to worry about stream sniping. Tier listing is an offline game to an extent. You just like the emote. Wanted to hear my thoughts for 6 hours? Well, you'll get that across 3 days this week. Put them in the tiers and then talk about the interesting ones. That's going to be hard to do, Average Joe, because what we want to do is use this nice, like, visual for all the cards so that we can talk about the cards. You can read them as I sort them. You just blocked off the calendar for the next 6 hours. Alright, so I'll see how much I can do. And yes, I apologize for my voice gonna be a little quieter as we go through this. I'm also gonna turn the music down a little, so I can hear my thoughts a little better. But yeah, it's gonna be a long process, gonna need to save the voice. But let's just get started. I'm not gonna... I guess what I'll do is I'll give at least a quick description, but like I'm not going to talk about future building site too much, you know. I'm not going to talk about shaving horse too much. That's for a different episode. Okay, so we start off with farmer's market. It's not in the same order. Good thing I know my pictures. And we can start by throwing farmer's market straight into the D tier. You should find better ways to... Oh no, this is... Sorry, I had market stall in my head. 2 food for a veg is fine. In my head the whole time it was grain to veg. Also, I'm going to be doing this in context of the new arena season, not in general. This is going to be in context of draft 10. So, I apologize for any dissociation. I don't think that's quite the right word, but it's not going to be super accurate for all formats, and that's kind of inevitable. Alright, alms bag. Where's the bag of alms? And how quickly can I throw this into D tier? High D tier. Alright, I thought I could do this off of just the pictures. Where is it? Oh god, there it is. High D tier. Not low D tier. Also, I need an F tier. How do I make one of those? Like this. It's not new. It's F. And for color reasons, it should be this indigo. You know, I'm also gonna add its band. Whoops. The contrast there is unfortunate. Watch is the same as S, basically. Alright, Reno materials. It's like fine. It's really great surprise Reno on big houses. I'm gonna say bottom of C tier. I want B statue to be good. Everyone wants B statue to be good. The theme on B statue is amazing. The effect is not. Potter's Yard. I am a big Potter's Yard fan. It can be pretty annoying to play, but I like it a lot. Where are you? There you are. Bottom of B tier to you. Upholstery. Upholstery is very solid. Mid to high B tier. You don't need to try to jam in 4 or 5 points on this thing for it to be good. It's a free minor. You play it whenever. Extra read is harder to come by, but this also gives you an excuse to try to steal read off the board and make people have a harder time building rooms. Yeah, Rubenstock, when you can get Pottery Yard good, it's really good. But, I guess Potter's Yard, not Pottery Yard. That's a different card. But, yeah, it's hard to activate. And the wood to read is not free. The wood and read cost is not free. Child's Toy, I heard rumors that Rainier rated this really high. I think it's fine. I think it's good, but I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's better than Upholstery. We love Iron Oven. Watchers of the video with me and Gray know how much we like Iron Oven. It's an A tier minor. It does a lot to... Like, one of the best possible uses for Iron Oven is set up a baking game, get lazy with building your oven, and look like you might be starving and needing to grow, but then you grow with this. It's awesome. Beaver Colony wants to be good. It sounds really tempting, but it's really hard to play. I almost want to put this in D tier. I shouldn't put it in D tier. Having a fence stable is more common in this set than the set I learned it in, so I'll leave it in C tier. Child's Toy is the worst wood to 2-point card you've ever seen. I think that's about right. I think there's probably one or two worse ones. You always want to make Beaver Colony work, but hey, welcome to the club. That means you've played a lot of Agricola. Thom, I accidentally ignored your question. How much DL combo would make B statue good? Can you guarantee that you're going to go to day labor 5 times after playing B statue? Then do you have 2 clay lying around? Hey, what's up, Alex? Alright, we have Rod Collection next. It's fine, it's a free point. Also, don't panic when my first drag of the card is to, like, put it in F or D. That's just because scrolling issues. The effect is pretty negligible in a lot of cases. I wouldn't ever really try to stack a big set of rods on Rod Collection. So 3 ox free point. Kind of the same as Child's Toy. Yeah, ignoring the text on Beaver Colony is also fine. Just like ignoring the text on Rod is fine. Misanthropy I don't like as much in this set as I would in Draft 7 or Draft 8. Or in previous sets, but as y'all are going to continue seeing, I have a strong bias against small houses in this set. And if you want to try to take advantage of that against me, you're welcome to. But my results have gotten insanely consistent and good by going turbo growth in this arena format, and I'm not happy about it. This is also probably worse than Child's Toy for wood to 2 points, by the way. Excuse me. Alex, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. That's insane. Thank you, Alex. That's very generous. I appreciate that. Poggies indeed. Oh, that's Poggers. Poggies has the hand behind the head. Merrick is a fan of Eric's Twitch name. DVLT saying the card is better if you can't read. There are more than one of those. Alright, land register, wood to 2 points again, but it is less restrictive. Filling your farm is like... I should be picking this more. I don't think I'm picking this enough. Land register's totally fine. You made your goal. Sweet. Yeah, I appreciate it. Next up we have Ox Skull. Ox Skull is definitely fine and playable, and is a solid C tier. It's like, if you have a cow and don't plan on getting to 4 cows, this basically says have a cow to eat and a free point. So it's like, if you're in the position of not going to 4 cows but have a cow, this is like a point and 3 or 4 food. So that's how you really need to look at this card. And it's only going this low because that specific position feels kind of rare to me. What's easier to hit, Woodrake or Land Register? I'll pass on answering that. They seem too similar to me. Cop-out answer number 1, number 2 of the stream. Watch out for more. Bookmark, a very solid minor improvement. Really nice in those situations where you're like third or fourth seat, don't get an Ock round 1, but need a stage 1 Ock to be played. This is great to start with and make sure you get that stage 1 Ock down in round 4. It also has plenty of other good uses, so, I mean, wood to free Ock is generally a fine trade. So, I think this is like bottom of A tier for me. Also, I'm not playing it enough. I should be drafting it more. Heirloom. You need to be on day labor and then play this minor. Good luck. Good luck if you want to try to make this work. Like, maybe it'll work sometimes. Is it better or worse than B statue? I don't care enough to think about that right now. Herbal Garden, the wood to 2-point miners continue here. You need to completely destroy a pasture. I guess that pasture can change throughout the game. I'm actually not sure if BGA lets you change. I assume it does, but I actually haven't played it. It's fine. Having a flexible lock in the future can be really good. It can be, yeah, that's for sure. Hello, Brindlin. I've not answered it already. Am I going to upload this somewhere? Unlike Rainier. Called out. Rainier did put these on YouTube. Rainier put his minor tier list on YouTube. Do you mean like the actual list? Like, am I going to print screen my list? Yeah, I think you can... What is this? Community rankings? I don't know which one of these is Rainier's, but I assume if you click into these... Is that how it works? If you hunt in Tiermaker, you'll be able to find it. Oh, here's an R. There we go. That's how you do it, apparently. Great, but very long. Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't expect to do more than put out the video, and then you can, like, search for it on the site here. But it's a lot of work to translate these into a spreadsheet, and I don't really plan on it, to be honest. Sean hates Herbal Garden. Yeah, destroying capacity is sad. And I agree with your comment that if you have a pasture before round 9, there's no chance you want to throw it away. Did Rainier ever do the Ox? I don't know. So, Thom, I think there's, in this format, a lot of value in getting to 5. And if you're playing Misanthropy, I don't know if you're doing it in round 14 after Urgent Wish is already taken. I guess if you do that, it's fine. Alright, Piggy Bank I thought I would like in this format. Turns out I don't. The early food tempo is obviously terrible. And for some reason I didn't think that would be an issue the first time or two I tried it, but it is an issue. Because often if you have a bunch of early food, piggy bank is not your best way to spend that food. You're probably using that food for turbo growing, lover or guest room, like aggressively forest trading or tree gardening, maybe autumn mother kind of stuff. Like, there's significantly more interesting stuff to do with early piles of food than piggy bank. But if you're stuck with piggy bank as the only thing you can do with your early piles of food, maybe it's fine. Water Gully is a card I like, but I think is not very flexible, which is kind of crazy to say for something that costs a stone and gives you 2 cows and a grain. But I think I will risk underrating it here. And bottom of B or top of C for me. I just hate drafting stuff that forces me to do specific things in the game. In this instance, buying a very contested improvement. Not a fan of that in a drafting sense. But in the right situation, it's obviously amazing. So you can call me a Water Gully hater if you need to. I think I agree with that, Alex. Lower draft count, piggy bank has more chance to be a good thing to spend your food on. Well, being contested makes piggy bank way worse. I think in Revised, there is a lot more potential for early stone and early well being built, which also makes piggy bank worse. In Original, it was pretty often that you were able to take the well with it. Syrup Tap. I have never liked paying a wood and a stone for this card. It seems too expensive to me to be that good. I don't think I've actually played it in Revised as an E-Deck card. I'm not even sure I've played it in my last 50 plays on Play Agricola. So you're going to see me put this pretty low for being a questionable cost. I think I like this card less than most people, but don't play it in a tree guard game. True. Water Gully seems great to wheel. Maybe. This has fun combo with Forest Owner. If another player visits your Forest Owner, you get a food. Oh my god, that's hilarious. That is a fun combo. You like the tap, but you get it? Yep. Barn Cats. The amount of stable support has definitely increased. And Barn Cats is more playable than my instincts originally suggested in this format. Because usually I like spending or saving my wood for even more aggressive room building in this format. But the stables definitely have plenty of reasons to happen. We'll see a lot of stable supporting cards. So, where are you? Not me spending the last 20 seconds randomly saying words, hoping I finally notice Barn Cats. Sure, we'll put it high B tier. Knave. Excellent artwork. Fantastic artwork. Barn Cats with no support is like Pond Hut. It's fair. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of this artwork. It does look like your house is gonna look when you play it. I've started calling it Longhouse in my head, even though that's clearly not the name of the card. And it is pretty good for big houses. It doesn't need your house to be in stone. You just can get the points when your house is in any resource level, any renovation level. It's at least B tier. Can I justify putting it higher? Probably not. But, like, if you delay your last grow, like, it's often easier or easiest to play a high-cost miner for endgame points if you're also doing it on a super late grow with room action. I don't think I can put it higher than Barn Cats, but it does have a really great ceiling. Your wide people happy when you play it? Me too. Better half timbered? It can be. You always drafted and put your rooms in the wrong spot. Oh no. Oh no. Non-bow with domestician expert F tier confirmed. Question, Alex. Do you need that 7th and 8th domestician capacity when going from 3 to 4 rooms? I think you probably know that already. Alright, wild greens. It's free. It's a few food. It's a solid C. I'm glad this card design exists. There should be more minor improvements that cost nothing and do a little. Muddy Waters, I think me and Gray put this in our video, which means I'm obligated to, like, give it an A- or something like that. I don't even remember if it was honorable mention or an actual top 10. Moving on. Yeah, I don't feel like I need to say much about free point and food. Twibble. I'm not the biggest fan of Twibble. It's definitely worth something. It feels a little weak, though, for spending a stone. I'm never super encouraged to draft it, but I think that's because I'm taking resource market less in this format, and you do want to play Twibble early, and there are just so many other miners that want to be played early. This is like B-, C+. I think my B and C tiers are going to be very large. That's the capital of Georgia. Twibble? I'm not going to try to understand that, I'm sorry. Water Lily Pond. Was it on my stream, like, end of last week, where I could have had a Water Lily Pond and didn't? And should have had a Water Lily Pond and didn't? It's definitely good. Scanning for the picture, scanning for the picture. I love scanning for the card picture. I've probably skipped it like 3 times. There it is. Thank you, everyone. Gotta give me coordinates. Can't find it in draft or Tiermaker, so true. tea time. I found it. Immediately move off of grain utilization. I want this card to be better than it is. I always dream of playing it. And I usually successfully convince myself that I'm not going to, and don't take it. So, as fun as it can be, I think it does deserve to live in D tier for lack of playability, not quality of effect. It's a fine effect. But I treat playability as a big factor when ranking things. I think everyone should. Speaking of which, how often should you have 3 field tiles? I think Fodder Beats encourages me to do good things, and I should be taking it more. Probably the same as Barn Cats, maybe a little worse. It's probably not as good as Knave. Okay, I'm leaving it there. This is an Excel coordinates channel. Or, yeah, Excel coordinates stream. If you give me chess coordinates, I'm not listening. Do I know chess coordinates? Absolutely. But we're definitely an Excel coordinate stream here. Alright, Town Hall. I have not seen enough people play Town Hall, but that's possibly because this format is too heavy on making it difficult to survive small stone house. But I think it should probably be played more. And I can't put it higher than C, though. Honestly, like, below Ox Skull. It's hard to make time for it. And often, the 2 food, like, your Stonehouse strategies should be farming heavy enough that those help with food. So it's really the points you're looking for, and then the resource to point conversion isn't amazing. Contraband I've seen players play a good bit, but I don't think I've seen great Contraband games. It's just a little annoying to get started, in my opinion, and kind of encourages you to take moves collecting resources that you're going to throw away for 3 food. I mean, that's not terrible in the abstract, but it's not something I always like to do. With the clarification, what I like to do versus what I end up doing are often different. It can live next to wild greens. The 1 food tempo hit often isn't a problem. In stage 1, you're usually activating this once. I would hope you are. If you're playing this, like, 5 rounds before you use it, that's a problem. But that's your fault. BGA players hate Stonehouse anyway. True. Best Contraband you've seen is with 1 Wood Miners and Royal Wood. Oh, that's so disgusting. Oh, that's disgusting. Contraband doesn't work with food. Only building resources. Frickin' Royal Wood. We'll get to it, but... No, you know, we're not gonna wait. We're not gonna wait. Get it out of my face. It's not banned right now, but it should be. Contraband. Yeah, that was the previous one. Lifting Machine. The 3-field prereq is insane. What is this even good for? Like, it's very bad clearing spade. This is very bad clearing spade. Our first F tier card. You might be crazy you've never seen Royalwood be better than Carpenter's Parlor or even remotely close. Oh, I think Royalwood is clearly better than Carpenter's Parlor. Um, there was even a game where I had Royalwood and Carpenter's Parlor, and I didn't ever play Carpenter's Parlor. Because I just got, like, the Carpenter discount on the rooms, and didn't need to have a stone in my supply. And then it also let me build half-price stables. And then it also gives you a wood back when you play a 2+ wood miner. Royalwood is silly. Why is every does not end with harvest card bad except sculpture course is because we have intuitively learned all the timings for like sequencing things, and we have to break those timings in order to do harvest stuff in non-harvest rounds. And like breaking that intuition usually leads to suboptimal sequences. I don't know for sure. Paintbrush. I think Paintbrush is very good in this format compared to original edition. Big fan. I think there's a lot of pig sources in revised or this arena format. So I'm gonna put this kind of high. It's like a good way to throw away extra clay. Obviously, it's insane with Cesspit, but that's because Cesspit is Cesspit. Would I be crazy to put this above Water Gully? Probably. Also moving Farmer's Market down. I thought I wasn't going to move things around, but obviously I was going to. Thunderbolt is really hard to play, and often I have other things in mind for the grain, and I'm good enough at taking wood. Am I throwing shade at people who rely on Thunderbolt for late game wood sources? Maybe. But this is definitely not my style. I'm going to put it in D tier, even though it's probably a little better than that. But it really doesn't work with my playstyle. I think grains are for eating and pointsing, not turning into wood before pointsing. What does Royalwood do? Royalwood gives you half your wood back that you spent on rooms, stables, and improvements. Like, actually half back. Are y'all Thunderbolt enjoyers? Y'all are crazy. But, you know, I'll be proved wrong on half of these. But this is just like a reflection of my current feelings as I've gotten pretty high in Arena recently, and I'm doing it in that context. Alright, Cheese Fondue I think is pretty good. I don't see it played much. At worst it's clay to point, and sometimes the text helps. It like gives you a better excuse to bake in hearths, though that is admittedly pretty rare. But I'll put it in B tier. Above Paintbrush and Water Gully. Maybe that's crazy. In my opinion, Draft 10 and New is making Arena become kind of a hybrid additional space. I was thinking about this, and I do think it emphasizes earlier growing. So in that sense, it's kind of like additional space. And also in some ways, I kind of treat 3-player, 5-player, and additional spaces kind of the same because of how often you need a pretty early big house to be consistently successful in those formats. So yeah, if you want to define that as hybrid additional space, that's fine. I think it's slightly closer to 3-player meta to me rather than additional space or 5-player. But yeah, I think you're more or less the right idea. Fruit ladder. I have just been so averse to spending early wood, spending early anything on miners, honestly. C tier is maybe too low. But yeah, the tempo on like your second room from spending this 2 wood can be pretty rough. Then again, by the time you're building your second room, this does save you like a 3 food action. I don't know, maybe that's fine. Gray treats 2, 3, 5, 6, and additional space all the same. Yeah, I assume Sivir has the right answer. Night Loot, I'm a fan of. I think it doesn't get played as much as it should. Extremely playable. Not the biggest benefit, but it's something. I think it's a solid Wild Greens type card where the cost is pretty minimal for what you get, and if it's in your hand and you don't have anything else, it's almost always a fine play. Raised Bed is something I'm seeing get played a lot, and I'm happy to see other people throwing away their 2 clay and 2 stone for 1 point. Yes, you can sometimes get a lot of food from it. Yes, it does have a lot of good use cases in the grain-heavy games where you also want to throw away grain for points. It's just not something I'm happy to pay the cost of. If you haven't seen that pattern already, you should start seeing the pattern of what I like and not like based on the cost of cards. To the point where I probably care too much, admittedly. All that said, I was talking like I was going to put this in D tier, but can I really put it worse than Town Hall? Probably not. Night Loot is 2 food to action. 2 food to bad action, yeah.
2 years. Tame cake.
Oh my god. Heroic Logic, thanks so much for the 2 years. Really appreciate it. Always happy to see your name in chat. Thanks so much. You wish Raised Bed was good, but it's really not. Night Loot is a hard counter to Tree Guard, totally. Raised Bed deserves 2 points. Yeah, if Raised Bed was 2 points, it would probably be like B plus A minus. Counterpoint, I think it's good in a game design sense that we don't have too many good cards. Me not liking it, I mean that in a I'm not going to draft it as highly or try to play it as much. From a game design perspective, I think this is a great design. I will say that. Sivir likes it a lot, that's fine. I mean, maybe it fits your playstyle better than mine. Grain Bag. It's a grain seeds thing, so that automatically makes it worse. There are a couple good combos with it. Read to Point isn't bad on its own. But yeah, it's a bit more situational than you want it to be. Maybe I should be trying to break it a little more. Like, a whole extra grain for each baking improvement can get pretty wild in the right game. So maybe I should bump this up for having some pretty good ceiling, but I don't know, Water Gully has some good ceiling too. Hey, Mighty. You hate it? Alright, Cubbyhole. I should like this card a good bit, but the cost can be annoying. It does come with a point on it. I should be playing this card more in Arena, but it's also possible that I just haven't had it passed to me much in the first place. Where are you? Can I put it in B? It's like ideally reed clay to what, 8 food? Roughly. Weird chicken coop. Slow chicken coop. Slow hutch. With upside that's a lot higher. God forbid you can play child ombudsman games with this thing. I guess you usually wouldn't, because the read is usually not available. Or maybe you force it to be available. I don't actually know. I should force a Cubbyhole game at some point to actually find out how good this thing is. But I don't know, so it goes at the bottom of B. Rainier despises this to a comic extent. The tempo on it's bad. Please, please play it against Rainier and win. Look, I'm still... You can't just, like... Chat can't just, like, willy-nilly give me goals. Because, you know, I'm 2 years into this Chris Ho challenge of getting 10 points on Bellfounder, and I haven't done it yet. So I guess you can give me goals, but don't expect me to ever do them. How many games with a card does it take me to evaluate it? It's a good question. At least 2. I mean, I'll still rank it for the tier list, but yeah, low confidence. You think 8 is low? Interesting. Next up is Stoneweir. Definitely a great fishing combo booster. But like, Brewery Pond and Harpooner, this seems good. What else? Angler? This makes Angler work, maybe? But then you're playing Angler? Stone to Point is fine. But it's a fishing card. We hate fishing cards. Stoneweir's like totally fine, except that it's a fishing card. And I'm biased against fishing cards. You want to see someone do massive clay supports with Cubbyhole? I want to see someone do Massive House clay supports with Animal Tamer's Apprentice. Animal Tamer's Apprentice, my hero. Boar Spear, I think, should be used more. But I guess I just haven't seen it in enough drafts that are also pig heavy. So I'm probably a little biased towards dream scenarios in my head for Boar Spear. It has really good potential. The fact that you can, like, play this as your super hearth if your plan was to eat pigs. I mean, admittedly, you can't eat your pig babies this way. Sorry if that was crass. Alright, I'll put it here for needing specific support, but it does have some really good upside, I think. Be here with 1 tier penalty for the word fishing. That is correct. Might you just drafted dentist? Yeah, Nightbot needs to... Well, you need to forget that it's a command for the command to work. Yeah, sieve your nose. Did the comma break the command? I think it did. Sorry, my Nightbot skills are not perfect. Like, I wish I could make my commands a little cooler. Hey, what's up, Papa? You had a nice cesspit boar spear game? That sounds awesome. Yeah, that's my dream. For boar spears, just cesspit it. FYI, baby pigs are called piglets. Thank you, Brindlin. Oh, man. The dentist commands. Good times. I'm glad the name didn't get changed so that I didn't have to change that command. Alright, Roman pot. It's probably better for me than most players because of how often I find myself going fourth. I had such an annoying arena game last night where I was fourth seat. And then first seat took start player second action round 1 and then round 2. And then second player almost took start player in round 3. Like, they did it and then undid it. And I was like, thank God. I took start player round 3. And then start player of the game takes start player in round 4. Just awful experience. Awful Agricola experience. Oh, also on top of all those start players, Major Improvement was round 1, and I think there were 2 or 3 minors played on Major in Stage 1 that game. It was insane. I somehow scraped a win out of that, but it was ugly. Also, I felt like I was getting blocked for half the game, which probably wasn't my opponent's intentions, and I was just, like, losing all my greedy plays. Anyway. If I had Roman pot in that situation, I still wouldn't have been able to play it. So, you can expect it to get, like, 1 or 2 food. Clay to a point and 2 food is totally fine. Sure, I'll put it above the bad wood to 2 points cards. Look, Alex, I wasn't going to say it if you didn't prompt me. You're creating the humble brag situation, not me. Just want that on the record. Roman pot should be like Elder that allows you to play it instantly if you're 4th seat. That would be really fun. Maybe... Alright, now I'm just, like, making up designs that are crazy for no reason, but what if it was no points if you played it immediately as the 4th seat player, and otherwise you have to play it normally? That'd be interesting. Your issue with Roman pot is that it's not exciting? Yeah, I guess you and I have very different ideas of what we like in minor improvements. I mean, I guess I'm speaking from game design and you're more speaking as a player, so I guess as a player I have to agree, but... Games get won by junior artist kindling gather. Now that's a hot take. I guess if you mean together, sure. But separately, that would be a hot take. I guess speaking of hot takes, I'm about to rate whale oil way too highly. So, with that warning out of the way, I'm putting it in... No, I can't. Yeah, it has fishing in the name, and I'm putting it in top half of C tier. What I like doing with whale oil is having a bunch of later ox and like fishing, like playing this in round 1 or 2, fishing for 3, then fishing for 2 or 3 again, and then playing all my ox. Or most of my ox. Together, okay. Yeah, junior artist combos are wild. They get real wild. Okay, comb and cutter. Good with a day labor combo. Otherwise, you threw away a wood. That is extremely situational, and day labor combos often give you a lot of food anyway. I totally picked up Dolly's mother instead of comb and cutter. That's funny. That's very funny. I was like, why does this see-through comb and cutter have a point on it? Alright. Right next to B statue you go. Bartering hut. It's just really expensive, and animals are pretty plentiful in this set. Like, when the deck got released, I thought it was going to be good, but then reality hit. It's just really expensive. I'm still going to say it's better than this day labor combo piece stuff in the abstract, though. Alright, ash trees, which notably Rainier put in S tier. Can I stretch it to S tier? I don't think I can. But I will rate it the next best thing because 5 free fences is pretty insane. Do you want to do good stuff? Do really good stuff? And then get 5 free fences? Absolutely. Hey David, it is not just you. The E deck does have a lot of those miners with points on them, but a lot of them do cost a stone. That is just kind of a design thing that became pretty frequent on Play Agricola, is have miners give points, but also cost resources. And I don't really know how I feel about it. 5 fences for playing your game in a specific order? Debatable. I mean, the specific order it forces is that you have to have 2 planted fields before building fences 11 through 15. But if you think of it differently, that's fine. I can't really argue with you. You can always say scoreboard, so try not to abuse it. Sourdough, Gray and I rated it very highly. I have not found quite as much success with it as I was hoping, and I'm not really sure why, but that's not going to stop me from putting it in A tier. Simple Oven. I have not really... I don't think I've seen this played once in Arena this season. Have I seen it played at all? I think with Draft 10, there's just, like, too many other ways to get, like, the extra bake action, and there's not enough, like, reasons that you need another baking improvement for it. Like, there's Grain Bag, and you're never really playing Cookery Outfitter. This doesn't even help with Cookery Outfitter. Yeah, okay. It's just, in Draft 10, you usually don't need it, which is unfortunate because I really like the design of the card. I'm going to put it in D tier for lack of playability in this arena format. I think in other formats it's better. Like, a whole tier better, possibly. 2 clay for a point and a bake action, but I think that's good. Alright, Dolly's Mother, which is definitely not Comb and Cutter. Great card. I see it played a lot in this arena format. I think it's a clear A. Yeah. The amount of ways you can get sheep breeding is fantastic. I mean, you have to have a sheep to play it. So when you play it, you get the point and you start breeding. Hey, Zach. Sleight of Hand. I think this just hasn't been showing up in my drafts, but there are so many situations where Sleight of Hand is good in the late game in this set, this arena format. So I'm going to put this pretty darn high. Because I think it has really great tactical flexibility late game. Breeding capacity at 0 cost is bonkers. It is quite good. Barnshed also hasn't shown up in my games. But should be pretty good. Should be pretty good. Where are you? I'm putting it in mid to high B tier. You should be able to get like 3 mid and late game grain from it, which kind of makes it like Repook, a late Repook at worst, and probably has a lot of good uses too. It used to cost 3 wood in original. Kind of wish it was still 3 wood, honestly. It feels a little too good in this format, relative to what it should be in my head. Alright, Wooden Shed gives you a room. It says you may no longer renovate, but I literally have a command on this channel that totally lines up with Wooden Shed. Wooden Shed just makes me do things that I kind of want to do anyway, and it's a super cheap room. I think it fits my playstyle pretty well, but admittedly there are plenty of games where you want the ceiling from Big Stone House. The real question, who's Tony? Well, Tony? Oh. We skipped down a bit when I zoomed in. This is really awkward, I'm sorry. Tony, scribbled out, lives here. Oh, was is crossed out. Tony was crossed out, lives here. Yeah, who is Tony? This is a deck. This mystery has been in the Agricola canon for 7 years. Almost 7 years, and or I guess 6. 6.5, and I didn't know about it? Not many people call their kids Tony these days. What about medieval Europe? Also, what about Dolly's mother? The game immersion is not as good in revised as original. Alright, are we done with that? No, I didn't even move it. Where does Wooden Shed go? Pretty high. I think it's pretty similar to Knave in terms of value. I like it a lot. I mean, the cheapness of the room is really amazing. The fact that it gives you room to grow in means you can keep building rooms after, and therefore makes this very useful tactically in the growth queue and build queue. Like, if you are ready to build a normal room and wooden shed, and then the other one later, like, you can go for start builds and have major improvement be a possible build spot for you, for example. That's just one of the things you can do with it. If you can have Immaculate Conception 2,000 years ago, you can have cloning 400 years ago. Tony comes and tears down your house if you try to make it better than it is. That's why a woodshed stops you from renovating. Interesting. I haven't heard a better story, Dr. Bois, so I guess for now that's the lore that I'll think about. Isn't the loss of ceiling pretty punishing? Well, I think sometimes you need the stone rooms to be part of your ceiling, but debating how much to say here. One thing that I think my mindset has started to shift about is that, and we've seen this kind of with collector games, the maximum ceiling is like 80. And a winning score for most games in this arena format, like, if you can clear 55, you're usually winning. So it's which 25 points of ceiling are you going to lose? And often that's like 15 of them are on cards. But yeah, true maximum ceiling is like pretty darn high. So not having stone rooms is just one possible component. Did I ever design a card for Agricola? Yes. If there are more fan decks published, I think 2 of my designs will make one of those decks. But I'm not really in control of what order, if at all, the next fan decks come out. I assume there will be more, because I have to assume that this fan deck, this E-deck, did very well, from what I've heard, but I think what I'm hearing is pretty biased also. Yeah, but what Sivir says, small house can compete with alternate ceiling plans. Last time you used wooden shed, it was with round 4 Autumn Mother. That is gross. That is gross. Alright, Scythe. I like Scythe a lot. It doesn't have as frequent of uses as I want it to in this format. In original, there were some real good uses for Scythe. Specifically, like, based on how things were worded, you could use it with Old Grain Thief. You could use it with a card called Cash Crop. And obviously you can still use it with, like, Melon Patch and stuff. So it has some pretty great uses. It's just not quite as playable as I want it to be, even though it only costs a wood. And the frequency and playability I think matters a lot in this arena format. Alright, Stable Tree. Let's hear it for the annoyingly high variance cards. Of which Stable Tree is one of them. You find a stable cleaner or a carpenter's axe, or there's probably a couple other things I'm forgetting right now, and this thing is just insane. Let alone you find lumber pile or sample stable on top of that. On its own, it's like fine, but if I just have it on its own, I'm not rushing to play it, and maybe that's wrong. But because of its ceiling, and it's still reasonable to play without the ceiling, it's gotta at least go in the middle of B tier. If you want to put it in A tier, I'm not gonna complain too much, but that's not how I want to run valuations right now, so I'm not going to. Stall right's great for it, yeah. Alk Lab. Let's go to the lab. I think I just haven't gotten the chance to play it in Arena. What do I think of it? I mean, it's definitely better than Rod Collection because it has words on it while having the same prereq and point value. There are some really good uses for this. I mean, I guess Mansion doesn't exist, but like if you're gonna reno to stone and you're a few resources short of your half timbered or nave, going to the lab before renovating is like awesome. And I suppose some crazy big clay house games could also benefit from the Alk Lab, so I think there's plenty of good uses for it. But at worst, it's if you have 3 ox, here's a free point. You've not yet seen someone take the space. Yeah, I think people probably should cater their game plans to a point where they could actually use the lab once or twice. But that could just be because most people are seeing it for the first time. You tried to read it, but all you see is that. That's also fair. Maybe one day you'll read it and then realize you can actually use it too, and that'll be fun. Okay. Chapel. Next. Shepherd's Whistle, I have been undervaluing. I've seen people use it and been jealous. Like, I knew it was fine. But when you have the food is more important in this format, I want to say. It's definitely a good thing to do with early stables, and you do get those more frequently here. I think right around there makes sense, mid of C tier. I mean, 2 Fruit of Harvest is good. That's definitely good. Maybe it's better? Maybe it's better. I don't think I can bring myself to put it higher than this, but it is not underwhelming. One stable builders love the card. Yeah, biggest kappa, because what you do with it is you're supposed to build 2 stables, you get a sheep the first time, and then with 1 sheep, the whistle gives you your second to breed with. So you go from 1 to 3 sheep for your breeding. And you can eat down to 1 sheep and still be breeding. But yeah, this is definitely a 2 stable situation. Don't let the at least 1 thing get to you. Xavier thinks it's A tier. Thinks every game he'll have a cookery. Like, this just flat out doesn't work with Food River. Right? Aren't you Food Rivering enough these days? Stone Axe is pretty insane. Me and Gray talked about it. Clear A tier card. I don't think my valuation has changed in the arena format. It can be awkward to play, but just the amount of wood you can get late with it, pretty wild. You forgot your whistle and fenced your stables. Oof. Every game with a shepherd's whistle, you cookery. Noted. Noted for the end of season showdowns. That probably won't happen. Alright, recount. It is a fine card to exist. This card exists, and I can't really say much more than that. Where are you? Help. Oh, there, I found it. Sorry. Am I rating these day labor helpers too low? Probably. You get more value than your opponents by timing it. Alright, Cherry Orchard. I don't think I've seen too many people sow on it, but it's definitely fine. Like, it's a free miner. And if you're sowing, it's also worth like 2 wood on top of a veggie over time. So I like the card quite a bit. In this arena format, I do less early sowing, which makes Cherry Orchard less interesting. But I think I still like it more than like Twibble. Combo with Wild Greens? Definitely combo with Wild Greens. Also, is like this kind of card a reason Scythe is worse? I don't remember if Scythe could pull off Cherry Orchard or Forester in original. People didn't sow on Woodfield either, that's true. Me overrating places to sow wood, part 5. Cow Patty. We have seen Cow Patty on Stream Game be pretty good. And I think I am a Cow Patty stan. Bottom of A tier. Scythe, I'm pretty sure only does crops now. Oh yeah, Melon Patch, because you're sowing veggies on there, but Cherry Orchard, you're sowing wood. Speaking of Melon Patch, fantastic card. This thing is so good. Is it better than Ash Trees? Why is my S tier empty? Is this a philosophical thing where I think it's either A tier or bannable? Maybe. I don't think it's quite as good as Ash Trees. Am I making a normal distribution that's just way too tight? Well, I've got to say, I'm doing a great job of making, like, a normal distribution shape here, and I'm not even trying to do that on purpose. I don't think I can put it higher than Ash Trees. I love it, though. I absolutely love Melon Patch. Often 2 plows I will contest. That's what I'm contesting in this format. I I don't think it's 2 fields very often in this format. Lumber pile. It's free. It has some combos, to be sure, but the net effect is not very good. I think it's a D tier card. Just for lack of playability. If it didn't have any combos, it would probably be F tier, because throwing away your stables for wood gives you temporary capacity problems in most games. And you don't want capacity problems in most games. Also, if you try to like naturally build 3 random stables on your build to then play lumber pile, it's fine, but the amount of times you have that much extra wood feels pretty rare in my solid games this season. So maybe a hot take, maybe that's too low. At best, lumber pile's 9 wood. What about the 6 wood you spent to build the stables? Are you just ignoring the fact that you threw away 6 wood temporarily to get 9 wood later? Surely the stables were free somehow. They didn't cost any actions or any resources. Free stable cards. How repeatable are those free stables? And I think my point about the capacity that you get from 3 random stables still stands. Or free stables. Like, you want your free stables to be holding stuff. And then lumber pile says you have to not hold stuff for a sec. There needs to be a variance tier. Oh, I mean, yeah. Each tier could have its own this on average but is high variance. I mean, there's a lot of those. Farmyard manure, I think we all know that it's bad. The prereq of 1 animal is extremely annoying and is the reason this card is bad. I mean, along with the fact that food is worse than wood in abstract, and farmyard manure wants to be stable tree, but is way more annoying to play. I'm going to put this all the way into F. You almost never play it. Barley mill is just way too expensive. Like, if this 4/2 was 2/1, that would be a totally fine B-, C+ card. But as is, this is pretty rough cost for not much benefit. But I guess there's probably a game here and there where it's usable. No. I can't. And that's why Firewood Collector is better than Cultivator, exactly. Sensing that theme. Crop Rotation Field. Very fun card. I miss Crop Rotator, the Oct that did this for all of your fields. And lets you harvest once automatically when you play it. Such a good Oct. This is a fine card. You usually get 1 rotation. There are ways to make that last rotation sneaky good. It's at least a C tier card. I'm not sure it's that much better, though. Let me split up Boar Spear and Raised Bed. with crop rotation field. Am I low on the day labor cards? I'm low on the day labor miners that aren't named Loam Pit or Quarry. Also, Quarry doesn't exist in this set. Okay, Oriental Fireplace is amazing. This thing's insane. I think I like it more than Sourdough. I probably like it more than Stone Axe. I almost never regret having Oriental Fireplace. It feels like a card that just wins. It's so good. It is so, so good. Like, getting 50% more for each sheep is insane. Am I putting this into S tier? I can't do that. I guess Hardware Store, I have elevated it to closer to Quarry. Maybe S tier is my ban watch list section. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, let's say S tier is my ban watch list. Yes, I knew that was coming, Sivir. Deal with my inconsistency. Deal with it. Yeah, I think it's turning out that my S tier is basically what I maybe ban this. Profiteering. When you play this card, you immediately get one food. Blank, 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 blank. It guaranteed gives you a food. The other day laborer cards don't. Loppers. Is that unfair to Profiteering? Or rather, Comb and Cutter? And it probably is. Alright, sorry. These other day labor miners actually have upside. Profiteering, like, when are you ever picking in draft 10? Loppers. I think this card's pretty underrated. The fact that you can spend 3 wood for 4 food and a point, I mean, is not amazing, but the timing of the food conversion can be pretty helpful. The idea, at least as far as I've usually used this, is you fence 6 or 7, throw away a wood and a fence piece, and then you fence 7 or 6 to end up with 13 fences. You could also use this in like a nail basket or carpenter's bench, etc. combo, where you end up fencing 12 3 times on 3 moves. I guess it doesn't work with carpenter's bench. Well, it does, but you wouldn't be able to lop the 4th time. Anyway, if you end up with 12 or 13 fences, you're not really losing that many points from fence arrangement, and you are gaining the food and getting points back for your wood on loppers. So that's my case to why I think people underestimate it. I'm not going to say it's amazing, but it's definitely fine. And I'm gonna... No, I can't put it above Water Gully. Alright, it lives with Paintbrush. It does exile fences from the game. It is now not the only thing that exiles fences from the game. There are a few of them. Forest School. wood clay to a point, and you don't really want to read the second half of the card. Reading the second half of the card is sad. I think this has to be better in this draft 10 crazy format, and I'm not drafting or playing it as much as I should be considering it. The cost is kind of awkward. I think I'm just going to leave it there. That's fine. Weird wording. I mean, yeah, it means if you decide to go on expensive Ock. No, I guess it's for like if you're using writing desk. Yeah. That's where it makes sense to have that wording. That would be funny, Dr. Y. I don't think that works. Oh, wait. Oh, wait a sec. Oh, no. Oh, no. If you have night school student, you want to play forest school. Oh, no. I hate finding rules disasters live. I don't know if it works or not. You can never trust? You can often trust. You could trust it more before this last set, I think. I didn't want to spend time looking into rules. But here we are. Is it really a hyphen between these? That's weird. Thanks. I guess I accidentally pressed like my Streamlabs hotkey for muting, which I forgot which one I did. But all I was doing was I was checking if I accidentally put an enter somewhere. Alright, but we're back. And there's no rules disaster, thankfully. At least with this. Alright, time check. We're at an hour 40. I feel like I've been efficient with this, and apparently I haven't been. Oof. Like, I want to do all of this. You love the passing minors with effectively. The final edit that I was able to proofread did not have any of these effectivelys. It's probably roughly around here. You usually can find a good way to convert grain. I will say, though, I think pumpernickel has a couple really cool small use cases for early grain that you want to convert before you have your engine running. Even for something like retail dealer or storehouse keeper or cord maker, you can start and get your grain conversion for stage 1 feeding. Also, this is a small thing that could keep acquirer running in late major games, stuff like that. I haven't seen people do that, but I think people should. Artichoke field. Roughly as good as crop rotation field. I'm going to be super lazy and put it right with crop rotation field. Even though it's probably not the same. I'm not going to bother thinking about it. Paper knife. If you like taking a wild ride into your occupations, you can go paper knife stuff. And if you want an even wilder ride, you can drink some moonshine, which I'm sure we'll get to. Paper knife, at least is a free oc. And often this is fine. It's not always fine. But, like, this is bookmark with a lot of variance and passes. And I'll say the variance and passing throws it down a tier and a half. Yeah, you can't use it if you have 2 or fewer ox in hand. Reclam plow is how I call this thing in my head. Wood to a field. This is like hand plow with different rules. And I think plows are more available in this draft 10 format, and it's going to be hard to convince me to spend a draft slot on conditional wood to field. Maybe it should be a little easier to convince me. This lives with farmer's market. Seed pellets is better than it looks to me. Like, it seems pretty restrictive with 3 fields and before unconditional sow, but it does mean you can get your grain really late. So I do like that part of it. That said, it's not restrictive. Maybe it's more playable than this. Fun combo with Drill Harrow. Not sure there's enough other things. Am I putting this significantly lower than other wood to 2-point things? Is that an error? Yes. Clear inconsistency. Clear inconsistency. Double turn plow. Well, Ace Spade, everything works with Slurry. Slurry's great. Double turn plow, big fan. Huge fan of double turn plow. More than I should be. That said, I will overrate it and drop it into A tier. And I'll overrate it even more. Yeah, the thing is, like, if you have the grain to spend, You might have been stretching for it. Should I kill my bias and properly rate this? I should kill my bias and properly rate this. It hurts. It really hurts. Maybe it's worse than this still, but at least I'm not gonna commit crimes against Agricola. Mud Patch, free pig, free card. Sometimes it lets you hold extra pigs. Where does a free pig go? Sure, next to Cherry Orchard. Stoneco. This card comes in later than you want it to in a lot of games. Like, it's way too late to beat Tree Guard to major improvements, for example. You can have some fun games with it. It can be really good in some games, but it's just not frequent enough. And it's pretty much for the same reasons as Piggy Bank timing-wise. I guess it doesn't have the food component, but Clay Reed is also annoying to get instead of 6 food. So I think I'm putting it right next to Piggy Bank in this format. Like, it has its right situations, but there are times where it just dies. Agricultural fertilizers, I think if I got really technical, I think there are bugs with this card. So I think on BGA it's not quite working in some situations. But that's debatable, and I don't think I've jumped into that rules case yet, and I don't want to right now. But you get some free sow actions like once or twice a game. You need a pasture to play it? No. Having a pasture makes this pretty annoying. Maybe it's not that bad. But you need to have a pasture and then want a sow action and then build, like, more fences or plow twice or 2 stables in the same turn. I guess that's not too frequent. Yeah, the timing on this is pretty rough. No, please don't. Please don't. 2 rooms works? Yes. Sorting the bands because no reason. Special food. Don't get greedy with it, but it is basically free 2 or 3 points if you play it early. And yeah, don't try to get 4 or 5 off of this thing. It's not worth it. Be happy with 2 or 3. It is not perfect. Like, there are times when it doesn't quite work, but that's not very often. It's really good value. This could be an underrating. Shelter. It exists. This card exists. It sure exists. Seed Almanac has not been quite as good as I was thinking originally when I did the video with Gray. And that means it falls all the way down to high A tier. I still believe in Seed Almanac pretty heavily. Iron Hoe is a card that I want to work all the time, and it really doesn't in this arena format. There's so many reasons why you don't want to take grain and veg in the same round in this format. It's really hard to justify playing this card. Ugh, yeah. Ceilings. Having the clay can be a little annoying. Usually if I have early clay, I spent all of it on a cookery. But I guess I've had a few games where I've done fireplace and miner, and there's no reason that miner can't be ceilings. Obviously, clay to 5 wood is really good. Also, if you need to reno, clay to 3 wood, clay to 4 wood are both really good. I think it's an A tier card. Maybe it's not quite that good. It's not free, it doesn't come with a point. No. I think bookmark is probably a little too high. Let's do that. The next time you... What's hard to understand, Merrick? The next time you... Briar Hedge. It is really difficult to get an animal of each type and then get value out of fencing the edge of your board later. Maybe really difficult is overselling it, but it is not easy. It is not easy. Obviously, it's amazing value if you can do it. So what else here is amazing value if you can do it, but pretty rough to get started. I guess around here. With obviously the only downside being the difficulty of playing it. 4 clay into oven can be common enough? Yeah. Yeah. 4 clay into fireplace. Ash trees Kappa. Thank you, Sivir, for that amazing comment. Asparagus knife. Better than lifting machine. Because you can actually get stuff from the veggie immediately, and it's a good conversion. This is a good Carrot Museum card. I'm actually not sure if Carrot Museum has to proc before it. But I guess I'll ignore that combo when thinking about how good this card is. I mean, it's generally a little tough to play or get value out of. Obviously, it's only a wood to play. Let's put it bottom C tier just because you don't too often have veg fields that you need to immediately convert. High veg games, this thing is good. That's just not very common. Reminds you of pumpkin seed oil? Fair. I don't remember everything about pumpkin seed oil, so I can't totally confirm that or not. Sheep rug. Having 4 sheep and then paying 1 is kind of annoying, but otherwise, here's your sleeping corner. Sleeping corner is not amazing in this set. I'm gonna go get that. Okay. Sheep rug, where are we putting it? Low B tier. It really isn't my playstyle in this arena format, so I haven't really tried it. But I'll put it bottom of B for now. I mean, draft 7 or 8, this has to be a lot higher. Pole Barns was pretty good in original. I've been drafting it rather aggressively and not been having much success. And I think that's gonna lead me to rating it kinda low. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it's been kind of hard to play. Yeah, I guess it can live with Town Hall and Raised Bed. I mean, I really like it, but yeah, I just haven't been able to succeed with it. Alright. I think S tier stops being lonely right now. Carpenter's Hammer can be pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I do think Royal Wood is better. But yeah, Carpenter's Hammer definitely on my ban watch list. I want to do Naughty Stonehouse combos with it. Like if you get this in Rock Beater or Carpenter, pretty good. For Stone Rooms, obviously. God forbid you get clay supports with this. You build 2 clay rooms for 2 wood and a clay. Seems okay. Carpenter's Hammer is lonely now. Aww. I'll give it a Carpenter's Friend. I know I'm doing that later. I'll talk about it when we run into it here. I'll even do that. Okay, Telegram. You need to do some fencing. But not all of your fencing. Notably, each fence of your supply starts at 15, and that means you would put a person in round 16, and that doesn't work. So it's pretty limited in terms of using the effect. If you just want to say blank, 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 2 food to a point, there are worse things, but not that much worse. I guess it has some upside for partial fencing games or fence 12 or 13 games. Those are not super common. Let's put it with Lumber Pile. What's the difference between S tier and ban? Ban is, I think it should for sure be banned. S tier, I hope I just said ban tier. Ban tier means I think it should for sure be banned. S tier means I think it should possibly be banned. Yeah, S is watch list. There we go. You think this is pretty bad? Alright, well, I don't feel bad about putting it in D. No esoteric, because then I would have to put everything into S tier. Yeah, exactly. Funny idea, though. Grassland Harrow. I don't know about anyone else, but this is one of the most confusing cards to understand the conditions. I kind of want to rate it even lower than it should be, just because of that. But it's also, you know, costs 2 wood for a field in the future, and depending on your resource situation, it could be far future. It's pretty annoying. That said, it can still be a field. So there's a floor on how bad a future field can be, even if it's an expensive one. Some games you are happy to pay that. Grassland Heroes, you may have dyslexia tier. Oof. Everyone wanted Big Country Band when they played it. That's funny. This is bad hand plow. This is extremely bad hand plow. Alright, Petting Zoo. Fun card. Don't get it confused with WM Petting Zoo, because that has the same artwork and very different effect. So that'll be fun to get renamed if that card ever gets reprinted. Anyway, this is a capacity card. You do need a pasture next to your house, which could be annoying. How do I feel about this thing? I don't actually know how I feel about this thing. Capacity can be good, but capacity when you already have a pasture, kinda weird. Like, if you have a pasture from animal husbandry worker or established person, I think it's way better, but that's kind of rare. This is very situational. Bunch of situational stuff in D tier for me. Oh no, Papa, is there really a Stone Custodian in Fiverr? Oh no. Proofreading fail by me. Well, not just me. There were definitely others involved in the proofreading here, but I don't know, this seems like it was catchable and wasn't. Awkward. We try to to not do it, Papa, is the reason. Farmers of the Moor A tier? True. Is it going to be an all-nighter? I could either stop now or try to finish in the next half hour or hour. Well, half hour is unreasonable. If I can do this in 3 hours, I'll be happy. I think I've saved my voice well enough. I can definitely feel it. This is a lot more talking than game streams. Nail Basket I like a lot. Fence actions that you don't have to work as hard for are good. This does cost a read, does give you a point for the read, and does make wood spaces even better for the next person to go there, which means you're not super likely to get it back. Obviously, there are some great combos with Nail Basket. I think I wanted for a moment to put this in top 10 when I was talking with Gray about what to put in top 10, and then he convinced me I was definitely wrong. Tell everyone to shut up. Sure. That said, I do like Nail Basket quite a bit. Is it better than Alk Lab? Yeah, upholstery, sure. Is it better than land register? Probably stable tree. It's more consistent. I don't know. I'll put it around stable tree. All right, the thing I already put into S tier, Carpenter's Bench. This is a card I don't really see people talking about wanting to ban, but I think it is ban level good. Do you want a miner that only costs 1 wood to play with no prereq, and then saves you 4 wood throughout the rest of the game, and 1 or 2 fence actions? Technically, it gives you 4 fence actions. And all the tempo benefits of partial fencing? This thing's insane. This thing's absolutely insane. Always pick this. Unless you really have a reason not to. Bonus, you can play Telegram with it. Telegram enabler. We should definitely ban it. Alright, Toolbox. I have not tried Toolbox. I guess it's good in some tactical situations, but I mean, it gives you major actions if you care about specific majors. Artisan District Enabler. It can't be that good. Yeah, it's right around Iron Hoe, I guess. Sure. Maybe there's a game here and there where you can steal a major with it. Why does bench have to be save a wood? I don't know. So that you can use your 3 wood grabs to fence 4. Surely Uwe was thinking about that. Craft teacher combo? True. Alright, I feel myself going slow. Oxcode! Me and Gray talked about it, right? A tier. Annoy people on the cow space. Get fields. Solid card. Woodsaw is, dare I say, the best start build card. Well, it does force you to grow. Oh, well, it only works like that if you grow last. So I guess it's not necessarily the best start build card. Though if you ask me to name what is, I wouldn't be able to. Because I'm just rambling. I think I like it more than Lumber Pile in this format. Yeah, I think rarely I'll be happy to take Woodsaw for farming first games. And this is a way to be kind of safe about not growing turbo last, or extra last, rather. Yeah, I think it has its purposes. Hey, Gagnetto. You can actually go to the Tiermaker site, just search Agricola, and then go to even more miners, and then I guess it shows it for me. But if you scroll... how do you actually do this? You click this button to the community rankings. This might be the long way to do it. I guess I have to publish the list to the site. I'll do that. But then you can see the community rankings, and like you can see Rainier's here, and I'll make sure that mine shows up in this also. Yeah. What did I do? Oh, for fun, we can see how long the server issue was on BGA. It was until like 1:30. Yeah, so the servers didn't get better until like 40 minutes ago. Rough. It was a good day to do tier listing. Back to mine. Cookery lesson probably should be played a little more than I've seen it, but I think it's kind of hard to use in this arena format. Obviously, it has some pretty good ceiling, 2 food into like 3 to 4 points if you're not stretching it too much. If you stretch it a ton, you can probably get 6 out of it. But it's probably costing you more points than it's worth to go beyond like 3 or 4 in most games. It probably has some pretty good upside situations, which sounds a lot like Cubbyhole. So I'll put it next to Cubbyhole, roughly. Animal bedding. It's a free point if you have a grain field. And in that respect, I think it's pretty good. And it does the fun capacity thing with... a fun capacity thing with your unfenced stables. And also stabled pastures, which is less important. I'm a fan of this card design-wise. I think it's a good deal. It's, like, hard to be that bad. So... Twibble is also a fairly easy point that's consistently some value. Sure. How are these both below Rod Collection? I don't know. This is easier to play than Rod Collection. Walking Boots, aka Murder Boots. Removing that person from play. This is currently banned, and that's because it doesn't like my enters. Okay. It's definitely banned because of the very annoying combos that happen when you immediately place a person from your supply. You can link that up with like Outskirts Director and crap like that. This doesn't have the prereq of play it in the work phase, so like Scholar can play this and then place out of turn. It's a bit of a rules disaster without being clearly a rules disaster. If it didn't combo and it wasn't playable outside of work phase, I would say it's like B plus A minus, but it just has issues beyond that. My free advice of the day is don't play Future Building Site. If you make it work, congratulations. Don't at me. Handcart is better than I thought it was at first. The few times I've gotten to play it, I've been very happy with Handcart. So I think it gets a C plus for me. Yeah, probably around Loppers area. Furniture combos with... yeah, furniture combos with Murder Boots. There's some terrible stuff. F stands for Future Building Site. Hayloft Barn. Goodbye. You saw someone do it with Childless and it wasn't even particularly good. That's pretty damning. Alright, I think Guest Room is also watch list. Where is it? Hello? There are only so many cards in the thing now. Oh, there it is. It is kind of like Lover. And a little more restrictive, kind of. Costs a little more, but it's a minor. And Lover is kind of like watch list level on its own, and this is a minor. I don't know. I don't know if I can actually rank these three. They're all pretty offensive in some games. Hayloft Barn is the most bannable out of all of these. In IRL games, I've procced Hayloft Barn in round 3, like, I guess, IRL plus Play Agricola games, I think I've procced this in round 3, like, 5 times. Hopefully that explains it. At some point during playtesting, there was also a 1 read in the cost, which made it so much more fair. I don't know if it actually would have, like, it probably moves it down to watch list or A tier, but yeah, as is, this is like, Hayloft Barn is ridiculous. Okay, we did Guest Room, now Ambition. I have never liked this card, going back to the Play Agricola days. I don't think I like it much still. Maybe I should try to play it more. Like if you want majors in the growth queue, but that's not very frequent. That said, it is free if you have 2 ox, so it's not like you're paying 2 wood to play the card. I think I like it less than Woodsaw, though. And better than Lumber Pile. You think there are 7 differences between Guest Room and Lover, and 2 are in favor of Lover and 5 are in favor of Guest Room? Are you including the magnitudes of the differences, Sivir? Something like that, Dr. Bois. Also, maybe I was exaggerating, and maybe a couple of those are round 4 instead of round 5. Or round 3. Round 4 instead of round 3. But also, if you sow as one of the stage 1 actions, you can count the harvesting as obtain, and then grow during the harvest, and still get your action in round 5. Final scenario. It's fine. It's free. Free stuff is good. There are situations where you want reno fence actions available to you at no pressure. Sure, it goes with crop rotation and artichoke field. Ahead of raised bed? No, that's probably not right. Am I gonna split raised bed and town hall? No. It's like mid-C tier for me. The fact that it's just so playable makes a big difference. Oh, yeah, I mean, obtaining is anytime something goes into your supply for any reason, which is coincidentally one of the reasons Shaving Horse is completely busto. Grain Depot I like a lot. Grain Depot is insane. Straight to A tier with you. Kettle is very abusable, and I haven't heard too many people abusing it yet, but I don't really know why. You can ignore the 2 slashes and everything after the slashes in all three things here. Then you think about the card. At any time, you can exchange 1 grain for 3 food. At literally any time, all you need is 1 grain field, which, spoiler alert, you probably want anyway if you're going to use this exchange. Also, the cost is, that's right, 1 clay. So this is a half-price simple oven, activatable at any time. Also, if you have a bunch of extra grain by the end of the game for some crazy reason, you can turn 4 grain into 2 food and 2 points. Or 2 grain into 1 food and 1 point. So, I mean, the points conversion is not amazing, but if you just use this for food, unlimited grain to 3 food. Yeah. I thought about using this in the bookmark challenge, but there's just better things to do in the bookmark challenge. RIP the bookmark challenge, by the way. For those unaware, bookmark used to be, there was a field for 999 food as the marker for your bookmark OC, and the challenge was to try to activate that field purchase in a solo game. And I didn't get there. I got close. Anyway, skimmer plow, I think is okay in this format. There are some games where you don't really need to sow because your cards give you enough of one crop and you don't care enough to try to sow the other for more points. It is some cheap extra fields, that's for sure. I think this is probably better than most people think. And, I mean, it's not amazing, but it's definitely playable in a few games, which I think makes it similar to Stone Weir. Playable in some games, and good in those ones. I didn't place kettle, thank you. I forgore. I mean, this thing is so abusable in the right situation. I'll risk overrating it and put it in A. Hello, CW! Yeah, I think Mighty came in after my little spiel. But basically, Mighty, I think max points in all categories translates to 80 if you include cards and bonus as categories. And we see that as an example with collector games that are like mid-60s with 4 beggars. So, like, total ceiling for a really amazing Agricola game is like 80. And a good winning score, a score that'll win you a lot of games, is like 55. So you get to cut out 25 points from the perfect game. Often, like 15 of those or more are from not having that kind of card ceiling. But, yeah, I think having max categories, or max points in all categories is not the way to look at it. Yeah, I mean, 45 can win some games if everyone fails to get good food, which I think is what happened in those games. Alright, Apiary. Really good card. No, I think it works good in this arena format as well. I haven't gotten a chance to play it recently, but that's not going to stop me from putting it in A tier. Pretty sure I talked about it with Gray. Wood Workshop is like ceilings, but better. We like A cards, but better. Being better than an A tier card puts it as a higher A tier card. Do I like it more than Stone Axe? Probably. Do I like it better than Oriental Fireplace? Maybe. Sure. This doesn't really matter. Things in the same tier are homogenous enough. Pottery Yard. Pretty specific case, but it can be a 3-point card, and it does form combos with Debt Security and Hide Farmer, which are pretty fun. So really great upside, but pretty rare. And I feel like putting it in C. So that's what I'm going to do. Sundial, I think, is excellent in this format. If you can find time to get a crop in a field, or a little more than that while in the growth queue, I love Sundial in this format. I'm going to put it high B tier. Maybe mid B tier. I'm trying to look at cards on both sides of where I want to put it and then readjust. But yeah, this is definitely a solid card. I think more people should use it. Why is Carpenter's Hammer so strong? All the combos. Yeah, you can combo it with any house type. If you only think about using it with wood, sure, it's a worse wooden hut extender. But it's also worse wooden hut extender, but is also a miner, so it's not really worse. And then it has combos, and then it has the other house types. So it's kind of like if you... So it's kind of like wood hut extender plus clay hut extender plus stone house extender, and it forms combos with other discounts. Or it's a discount instead of setting a base cost, so you can combo with a base cost setter. Yeah, there's some silly things you can do with it. Often end up in 6 rooms with Carpenter's Hammer from like 2 wood and then 2 clay. But I think I've probably had an 8-room game or 2. This is one of the most ridiculous cards ever printed. This market stall is pretty fun. It has the same throw fence pieces away problem as Loppers, but again, if you end on 11 to 13 fences, you're still doing fine. This also means you can't get 4 stables. Oh no. And then you really want to think about the grain to 5 food in each field phase, which can be pretty useful. So it is not the best stall, but it's definitely fine. This might be a little too low, but I'm feeling bottom of B for this one. It seems weak when Beer Stall is a card. Yes, we'll get to Beer Stall. How good would Writing Chamber be if it did any scaling between Caverna and... What are you even talking about? Fat Stock Stretcher. I need to play more. It's kind of like Oriental Fireplace. Vaguely. Not that vaguely. But I like the Oriental Fireplace more. I can't super explain it. And because I can't really explain it, I will put this pretty high, even though I haven't actually been playing it. Like, I'm putting this mid-high B, even though I've played it 0 times ever. So, big disclaimer alert. I don't want to think about it, Brindlin. Yes, exactly, Esoteric. One of the best reasons Oriental Fireplace is good is that it's 50% on your sheep. So is Fat Stock. The caverna writing chamber. Oh, forgive me for not knowing what a caverna building is. Yeah, I don't know. I thought in playtesting writing chamber should have been 3 points, and it was like A- tier as 3-point coverage. And then publishers decided to ignore that feedback, so that was really cool. Huntsman's hat is okay. It's like bad boar spear. Boar spear's here. So bad boar spear lives here. Maybe here. Sure, bad boar spear lives here. Alright, job contract, super good. Do you want patron as a minor improvement? With day labor combos available, and pray that you don't run into someone else's day labor combo and fight for day labor, but otherwise here's patron as a minor. You really want Boar Spear to be good? I do too. I super want Boar Spear to be good. Bunk beds. I think I should play bunk beds more. I guess the problem is I've had a lot of games where I'm not feeding with majors, which is weird. But yeah, having a 5th capacity is definitely good in this format without needing to build a room for it. Where in B should this live? I'm not really sure. It has been a long time since I played bunk beds, and I've gotten a lot better since. So I'm just going to put it right below all the bad wood to 2-point stuff, and hope that's fair. Alright, take care, satiric. We are getting close to done here. Summer house is ridiculous. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining why, but if you do the math on building 3 total rooms or 4 total rooms in your center row, you can figure it out yourself on how easy it is to get 55. Stable manure. At most 1 Ock, I don't like that kind of thing. And this relies on unfenced stables, but gives you scythe worker on that many fields. This is probably better than I realize. But also taking the time to get this out is pretty annoying in this format. There's so many early miners that you want to deal with and early Ocks you want to play. I'm putting it here. Studio has some good uses. I think when you're growing aggressively, you can use this as some feeding outs at helpful times. So I like it a good bit. It's not amazing, but it's definitely fine. I'm putting it here. Low B. Bunk beds is high B. I don't feel bad about my placement with no experience. You missed Stone Axe? Yeah, Stone Axe Tree Guard is S++ for sure. I mean, if you stack those 2 cards on top of each other, it goes into definitely ban. Me and Rainier both hate Thunderbolt. Exactly, Thumb. My Caverna plays felt like my big actions that did 3 things each were equivalent to each other, so what was the point in deciding? Straw manure. Discard grain to add 2 veg. Usually with veg fields, you're trying to time them so they can re-harvest. But I guess if you're just, like, effectively re-sowing your veg, like, re-sowing 2 veg gets you 2 veggies. So does throwing a grain away with straw manure. This is probably better than I realize. But having both crops already is a little difficult. Sounds a lot like my, this thing analysis. I'll put it a little higher. I want to make this work now. But I don't know if I'll ever draft it. The thing about, like, draft 10, with anything in D tier and F tier, is, like, when am I going to find the time to draft these? Oh, no, I mean, I still recommend Caverna to people who aren't going to have time to play Agricola deeply. But, yeah, it's definitely not for me. Studio Boat, get bonus when you travel. We're going to ignore the 1 to 3 player thing because it's confusing and we don't care about that format anyway in this tier list. The amount of times I take traveling is not very high. And then the amount of times I have a reason to take traveling, also not very high. I mean, if you somehow get Market Master with this, congratulations. You have a tutor. Otherwise, I don't think I'm playing this. Unless I have, like, Junior Artist, Conjurer, Market Master, something along those lines, House Artist. But that is pretty rare. Oh god, really rare. Yeah, like Bartering Hut rare. Sure. Definitely Savior. I mean, this stuff is like, I'm not quite never drafting them. Future building site tiers, I'm never drafting them. Large pottery is really fun. Having the pottery can be a little tough, especially if other people have seen this in the draft, and this is, like, a little too speculative to first pick, in my opinion. And some games just don't have huge amounts of clay. So I want large pottery to be A, but I'm actually not sure it is anymore. I think it just has a few too many playability problems, so I'm going to put it high B. Yeah, CW, you are. You're tilted by everyone else's tier list, and you need to return the favor. How game-losing is large pottery, by the way? In your rules, I'm interested to hear. Stonehouse Recon. You need to remember, like a good player, not like me, that this only works on clay to stone. You can't combo this with wood slide hammer. That doesn't work. I might have tried that on stream and failed. Who knows? In general, I like the card a lot. Going to stone without needing an action in the endgame buys you a lot of tactical flexibility. And then stone to point on its own is fine, but then the challenge is getting enough stone. So it's like a solid B tier card to me. Maybe that's a little too high. And maybe that feeds into my playstyle a little bit more than it should, but that's where I'm putting it. Oh my god. This is like a card I didn't really start exploiting until this arena season. But this thing is absolutely nuts. This thing's absolutely nuts. I am first picking this thing pretty often. Is this crazy? To put it in ban watchlist territory? Maybe. Maybe it is. I guess some games, like, how often are you not finding grain in draft 10? Like, that's happened to me once. But I've also had games where I've used this effect 6 to 8 times. And that's insane. Yeah, there is CW. If you just search Agricola on Tiermaker, And then I can give you this link if you want to stream and also have the cards displayed here. All right, Work Hermit, aka Good Telegram. So you need to have at least one building resource, and then almost always can place a person to use in a future round. Cost of food doesn't give you a point. That's fine. I think it's pretty good. Especially, you want to target rounds where people are usually pretty busy, so that the extra action you get is, on average, like a better accumulation space. Like, if you can land that extra person in the middle of the growth queue, that's often ideal. I don't really know how else to guess at a good round. The earlier the better. Also, like, the earlier your action is, the better, obviously. More chances to snowball whatever you got. Where is it? There. I haven't played it. Maybe I've played it once, but I don't remember playing it. But I think I will be trying to play it. Sure, let's put it high C tier. Better conversion than Oriental, so it's clearly S, yes. Reedstone and start work permit? Sure. Not as good as Reedstone Canvas Sack, which I guess we still haven't gotten to. Alright, Tea House. Alright, and I was hoping to get this all done in 3 hours, and we still might. Once per round, you skip placing your second person and get a food. I really don't know how good this is. I mean, wood to stone for 2 points isn't bad. Playing it in round 6 or later is not usually a big deal at all. It can't really be worse than C tier for the resource to point conversion being fine. But the words on it probably don't do very much. If I had to guess. Maybe someone out there has some really good tea house game to show me. But for now, I'm going to put it in mid-C tier. Oh, there you go, Dr. Bois. 3 wood to take the good action off the board. Then you discard 2 wood and play work permit. A+, no notes. How do you even build a tea house? You, first column, center row, and then you flip your board sideways 90 degrees. Then you have a tea house. Gypsy's Crock. Pretty underwhelming effect. 2 clay to a point is fine. And the amount of times you batch convert your stuff to food, easy in a solo game, hard to do in a 4-player game. I'm not a big Gypsy's Croc fan. Like, having 2 extra clay is not very common, honestly. Building a major that you actually want is usually going to be a better use of time. It's like chicken coop. Got it. Breed registry. You just have to be careful about not wanting a bunch of sheep in your game and then have 3 points for no reason. This thing's pretty darn good. In terms of design, it's a disaster because it forces a memory element, which is pretty dumb. But in terms of power alone, this thing's pretty darn good. Mid-A tier for me. I mean, I've heard people think it should be bannable, and I'm not going to really complain about it if they think that. I just don't have enough info or experience with it. Can you eat 2 sheep, then 2 more sheep, then 2 more sheep, then do a thing? I don't know what you mean by do a thing, but if you eat 6 total sheep, you get 3 food. As long as you do it all at once. Breed registry is worse than special should do you? Okay. Maybe I have special food too low. Yeah, you don't have to do maximum 2 per action. You can just do even numbers all at once. You can also do, like, bake 1 grain, eat 1 sheep, get a bonus food. As long as your baking is in a cookery. Or the same cookery as the sheep, I guess. Is it the same? Yeah, the same. Well, debatable. Debatable if it has to be the same cooking improvement. Don't bake in your hearth and eat your sheep in your fireplace just to be a rebel. For all you oven ciders. Changeover. It's free. It's Corn Storehouse, but it's free. I mean, it's slightly different than Corn Storehouse, but it's free. Corn Storehouse was, like, one of the worst minor improvements in Original. This card being free definitely limits how bad it is. I haven't tried it. Maybe it has a use case, but I haven't taken the mental time to figure out a use case for this. And for that reason, I will risk underrating it and put it in D tier. It's at least 2 points because gardening head officials in every game. Brilliant comment. I can't wait to watch you tier list, CW. You better not put out a tier list with no explanations. Baking course, aka make freshman free autodidact card. I don't really know how good it is outside of freshman. I think, yeah, I mean, if you have freshman, you automatically take this. But outside of that, how good is this card? Freshman would go in my ban for sure list, so I kind of want to evaluate this outside of the freshman world. And for that, it seems like occasionally fine. It's also free. I'm basically going to consider the 1-oc prereq nothing. So free bake actions sounds a lot like Simple Oven. How about this leads off our D tier? You think it is on par with Baker? It's definitely worse than that because it's delayed on when your bake is compared to, like, Baker, you just get your grain off your fields, but with Baking Course you have to wait a whole round. And this doesn't work in 13 and 14. But maybe you have a point that D for delayed Baker would be too aggressively downgraded. That is a fair point. Alright, we're gonna take another rules interlude. This ruling with the definition of turn doesn't say you can't do freshman off turn. There needs to be more detail on the freshman ruling. Also, did you know that freshman is a rules disaster? And I've been saying that for 7 years. Or however long A deck has been out. late 2017. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that more than this, but problems. Problems exist. And I will request that you don't bug the devs about it, because the devs are just going to come back to me. And I'm aware of these problems already. Thanks! Alright, let's finish this up. We've less than a row of miners to get to, and a few of them are easy calls. Crudité. We have seen me use Crudité to some good effect on stream. It is free and has really great mid-game tempo sometimes. Take care, CW. Thanks for stopping by. Dare I put Crudité into A tier? Probably not. But high B tier. There are some really good Crudité games. It just needs a lot of so actions to work really well, and that's not great. Retraining. I almost got wrecked by this. And I think it was Rubenstock who also didn't realize I could get wrecked by this. And therefore I didn't get wrecked. At worst, it's food to point. And, I mean, the text is mostly blank. Where's my other food to point stuff? Where did I put my other food to point stuff? Sure, let's just put it here. Yeah, Spade, Agricola is pretty bad with inconsistency in game terms. Did you know that that was also a goal for them, a stated goal for them to improve in Revised compared to Original? And then Uwe still got the final say for a bunch of cards. Isn't that great? Canvas Sack. Canvas Sack is an excellent Reedstone Food Start player opening. It is pretty annoying when an early seat gets it and you're in 4th seat. So in terms of design, I'm not a fan of the design, but it is pretty strong. I pretty much wouldn't look at the grain to veg conversion in most cases. You usually don't have a grain and want a veg when you still have no ox. That's pretty rare. Yeah, I guess I'll put it bottom of A tier. Should I like it more than Special Food and Briarhedge and Knave? Should I increase Knave? I should increase Knave. Yeah, whatever. I'm putting it up there. Gotta love retraining has a bunch of freshmen? Yes, it is pretty funny. You think it was a Zach? Oh, yeah, it was a Zach, not Rubenstock. Alright. Firewood. Firewood can be a lot of wood as a pretty cheap minor improvement that you can play early. The food tempo is not good, so you need to not have bad food tempo early when you play it, but otherwise, I mean, 6 wood seems pretty easy to get from it. 8 wood and even 12 wood is not impossible. I think A tier would probably be a little too high because of how hard the early tempo problems are to counteract, but I don't think it can be much lower than high B tier for like how crazy the amount of wood it can give you is. Artisan District, where's my category for cards that should just not exist and I refuse to rate them? There's no world where a minor improvement should let you convert a stone to 9 points. I don't care how ridiculous the condition is. I have no idea where this goes. I refuse to make a serious rating for it. Plus or minus a whole tier on this thing. I don't care. Drill Harrow. Definitely some good combos if you have good food. I mean, I don't know how many combos you really need. Like, it combos with taking cultivation. I think it's a underrated plow. Maybe it's not underrated anymore, but I've seen a lot of players use it happily and be fine. So, like, its shifting cultivator is a minor kind of. Obviously, wood accumulation spaces on shifting cultivator is a different proc than sowing. Let's drop it right next to double turn plow. Well, the thing about Artisan District is I'm not sure it's that good on average. And just because I think the variance on it is one of the worst examples of card design in Agricola history, doesn't put it in the same tier as this. Linchette, I need to play this more. I need to draft it more. It's free. It can definitely be a lot of food. I'll put it next to Firewood. I need more experience with it to be sure, but this could easily be A or A minus tier. And if I have a hard time getting a lot of food off of it, I would probably drop it personally to lower B, but it's roughly here. Loom Stool, levels of food. Cool. I appreciate that data point. Earth Oven, upgrade your fireplace, get 2 points, and better veg and pig conversions. I've liked this card a lot. I think it's a really handy, easy thing to play in the growth queue. I don't think it's quite A tier. I think I'd probably rate it right along with Crudité and Large Pottery for different reasons, but it feels like that level of thing to me. Pulverizer Plow. I have been on team ban this card for the longest time. You could argue for it to lead off S tier, but I'm not going to do that. Zigzag Harrow is a little annoying to run. It's, if you know you're going to do it, it's probably okay. And you can usually make your opponent have a suboptimal farm layout. But I guess it's okay. Like, wood to 2 points if you have 3 fields in a specific shape. Where are the bad wood to 2 point cards? This is definitely worse than that, because I'm going to argue that your farm arrangement is going to suffer by a point sometimes. Bottom of B tier. It's just hard to get cheap fields worse than that. We know where recruitment goes. Admittedly, this is now round 5 on. There was a misprint on the English edition where it didn't get round 5 on it. Doesn't matter enough to me. We've talked about Royal Wood. Here's the text if you had the patience to wait this long. Field Spade. I have actually used this more than I thought I would. So it is not total trash. And I think that's a slightly surprising result. I'm going to put this near the bottom of C tier. Like, wanting extra stone is actually a thing in this arena format. There's lots of big houses that want to get to stone and or steel majors. So when there isn't as much stone injection in the game, Field Spade can definitely help you save an action here and there. You also want it in definitely ban? Yeah, if round 5. Okay. Slurry, free card, lots of, or very frequent free late game so abilities, and that's really great. If you think about how good cultivation is in round 14, well, if you breed 2 things in round 13, you can just have that without the plow half, and then you can combo it with Drill Harrow for extra success. Definitely an A tier card, in part because of its playability. Carpenter's Yard. You can build the joinery and well at the same time. GG. In truth, I don't see this being that much better than just the wood read to point, and that's not very impressive. I think I put it in D tier, like with Gypsy's Croc. That's a pretty annoying cost to pay. It's like a third of a room. Silage. Returning, I honestly don't know what this thing does. In each returning phase after there's no harvest, so this is non-harvest returning home phases, you can pay a grain to breed 1 animal, and you can pay the grain from a okay. This is... I'm so glad I spent the time to read that. I'm so glad I spent the time to read that. This is Pure Breeder, but it costs a grain, and you need 2 fields to run it. We're almost done. Matic. It's, like, fine if you really don't have a better miner to play early. Like, if you get stuck with 3 wood and 4th seat, you can start with this and open Reedstone Food Clay. And then maybe you get Reed Clay later in stage 1. Yeah, it's not that good. I mean, it's playable. It means you probably don't need a clay action, and there's something to be said for that. But I think it goes with Field Spade, and maybe it saves you an action at some point. Weird bad Storehousekeeper is a miner, but you also get clay on just the quarry spaces and Reed Bank. So if you play this early enough, you definitely can just have enough clay for a cookery in the mid-game. So it's a little more than a nothing burger. Veg Slicer, upgrade Fireplace to Hearth, you get Wood Veg. I mean, that's a pretty good payoff. Even if you only do that once. You invest a wood and get 2 wood and a veg back. Then again, it is only for cookery games. And timing it could be kind of annoying. So I'm going to put this with Loppers. High C tier. And the last card is very fast. We throw this thing in the ban list very quickly. We did it. And by we, I mean I did it. I'm going to log in on this screen. We did it! Yay! Okay, yeah, you should be able to find this on Tiermaker, I guess. I'll put that link there. That should be a direct link to it. And I'll make this a Nightbot command. Yeah, I'll make this a Nightbot command. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up because this has been a long stream. Roughly 3 hours as prophesized. Glad I didn't get it longer than that. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with hopefully a game if BGA is more stable. And if it's somehow not, I guess we know what we're doing. So yeah, take care, everyone. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. For those of you who watched on YouTube, hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, I don't plan on making a spreadsheet for these, but if someone else wants to put these in a spreadsheet, let me know, and I'll add that spreadsheet link to the video description. So, yep, take care, everyone. See you next time. Bye.